they still obviously have the voter ID in Denver, as they do in Georgia, but there's less available days to vote there, and then also some other issues. So obviously that wasn't the real issue when it came to the Georgia law and all of these companies that jumped in, the media reaction. So what do you think is really behind all the wokeness with these corporations jumping on the bandwagon?
Well, Georgia's got a lot of difficulties. I mean, you look at in this new law, I don't believe they have signature matching. Now, why wouldn't they have signature matching? A lot of the real power, a lot of the guts have been taken out of it. They had something that was very powerful, meaning fair and free and good for the people, but it was strong. You have to be a citizen. You have to be all of the things that you have to be, and signature ID, et cetera, et cetera. But they didn't have signature matching, as I understand it. That's not good, and it's very watered down from the original one. Look, it's a shame. Georgia's very sad that the Secretary of State signed the consent decree, because this consent decree made it very tough for a Republican to win in the state, even though I have very little doubt that I won by tremendous numbers of votes, and most people in Georgia, I think a lot of people in Georgia agree with me. But what is going on there is sort of crazy. And now on top of it, a woke group of people, that's baseball, and people are tired of it, they decide to hurt the people of Georgia by moving it out. It's just ridiculous. To a state, frankly, where it has tougher laws than the law that Georgia just signed.
And a less diverse community as well. So some people are calling him out on that.
Very much less diverse. Absolutely. Very different.
What about all of these companies, though, that are being woke now? You have Coca-Cola, you have Delta, United Airlines, I think last night issued a statement. American Airlines has already jumped on board and issued a statement because the state of Texas is talking about, some of these voter and election integrity laws that they want to strengthen.
Oh, let them try boycotting Texas. Texas will teach them a lesson. That I can tell you. Let them try it. Look, it's crazy what's going on. It shouldn't be happening. Frankly, these companies should stay out of it, because all they do is aggravate people, and people are not happy with it. And the people you're talking about, some of them live in foreign countries. They run these big multinational companies, and they're making calls from London and other places, and they don't even know what's happening. No, I think it's a disgrace. And frankly, if Republican conservatives ever got their act together, which they should, if we had some real leadership instead of Mitch McConnell and the group, if we had some real leadership, what you'd be doing is something much different. They'd be boycotting these companies, and those companies would be coming. That's what the liberals do. They boycott anybody that speaks out. They boycott them. They cancel them, and they boycott them. We have more people than they do. So what should happen is the Republicans, and let's say Republican conservatives, Republicans, you could call it whatever you want, the right, if they would boycott these companies that are so above it all, you'd find that they would come back into the fold very quickly. But right now, the liberals, the radical left, plays the Democrats, they play a much tougher game.
Yeah. So should we boycott baseball?
Well, look, I'm just not very interested in baseball for the last number of years. I think it's not appropriate. You look, you want to find a game, it's on every channel, and yet you can't find anything. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing. It used to be a nice, easy thing to follow. And you know what I mean by that. It was on one network, and it was nice and good and beautiful. Today, you don't even know what the hell you're watching. So I would say boycott baseball. Why not? I think what they did was a terrible thing. I think it's a very unfair thing. And they didn't even know the bill. And, in fact, I think they were aware of the bill as it was going along. Everybody was okay with it. Then as soon as Stacey Abrams speaks up, they end up folding. And it should be the opposite. We have more people than they do.
Well, why is it?
We don't use the power of the people. The people should boycott those companies that are all of a sudden so righteous. And you would find that they would come they would be right back, because the bill it's a weak bill. It's a weak bill. They do have voter ID, which is a great thing. You should have. But even that's probably a little bit on the watered down side from what I hear. But we don't have signature matching, which is a big deal. And we don't have a lot of other things that we had 2 or 3 weeks before.
I know you had
in
mentioned
the Georgia legislature, and frankly, when they signed the consent decree, they never had it approved by the legislature. So in theory, it should be illegal or unconstitutional. You know, you have to have those things approved by the state legislatures in the United States Constitution. It's there for everybody to see, and they never had that approved by. They signed a consent decree that's the governor and the secretary of state. That is a horror for the state, but it's a horror for Republicans. They never had it approved by the state legislature. Therefore, it's unconstitutional. It shouldn't be allowed.
Let me ask you